here with Wayne from the Flaming Lips. Now tell me what you think about the ACM at UCO.
Well, this idea of musicians growing up here, same way I did. I think a lot of times people pat me on the back, I think sometimes too much, and say, Wayne, we're so glad you stayed here. I did it simply because I liked it. I never thought that the Flaming Lips would ever be accepted into the music industry, let alone win Grammys and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I always thought, well, why not live here? I'm just doing my art and my music. But I have to say, the reason I always, that I was never discouraged is because people believed in me. And even though we didn't have a university or a community saying, hey, Wayne, we believe in you, I always had people around me saying, whatever it is that I wanted to do with my music, with my art, with my weird ideas, or just even presenting myself into the world, my mother, my brothers, my friends, they all encouraged me. And I think in a way this is that. This tells young musicians that you're not alone. And if you believe in your ideas, here's a group and here's a thing that says, we believe in you as well. And whether we all go on to be the Flaming Lips or Toby Keith or Garth Brooks or any of that, the idea that you get to do your thing, that in and of itself is already a great. It's just a great reward. Instead of thinking, oh, don't pursue music. What's that going to lead to? Maybe you should be a football player, or it lets you say, pursue this, and hopefully. It enriches your life. It doesn't have to make you richer or put you on the front pages of music magazines, but to understand music and to be around other musicians, that in and of itself is making the world a better place.
Definitely. I've noticed that Oklahoma bands have a lot of talent. And one thing I've always noticed is that there seems to be a lot of talented people, a lot of talented musicians and singers right here in the heartland of America.
Yeah.
So you see that too.
Well, I see it all over the world,
right.
and a lot of times people will make a big deal about it being about Oklahoma City, but I want people to know that you should pursue your dream. That's what I did.
Right.
And I was lucky that it worked out to where in a certain time and place, me being from Oklahoma has really come to symbolize something. But I have to tell you, I never worried about it. I think the easiest thing for me was I simply did it because I could and I liked it, which is what I would want other young people to be able to do, that they don't think they have to move to Los Angeles or even to New York or even to Nashville to say, those things have advantages, but there's advantages to staying here as well. And not to be looking like some fool. It's like, why do you stay there? If you really want to make it in the music industry, why would you stay there? And now they wouldn't have to have that. They can say, I'm staying there because it makes just as much sense to stay there and do my music as it would anywhere else.
Right.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of the country. That's great. Yeah. You're halfway to the East Coast or halfway to the West Coast.
Well, and hopefully it is unique, and hopefully it is a little bit pushing the boundaries a little bit about what the possibilities are of an artist or a musician coming from Oklahoma. Everywhere I've gone since the Flaming Lips have started, in 1983 we started traveling around the world. What people say is like, I can't believe you come from Oklahoma. And I don't know what that means really. It means you're so weird or so or something. I'm not sure what it means. But I can see it as being one coloring of something that makes us unique, which is what every artist hopes happens to them. And that I'm lucky that that's happened to me, but maybe this idea of being in Oklahoma has a little bit of some sort of authentic rootedness, but also some kind of Wild West mentality where really anything is possible.
Yeah, so it does give you a sense of pride then that this is happening right here in Oklahoma City.
Well, there's elements of my own life that I've always been proud of anyway. I never needed to have an alley, even though it's awesome to have it. Just people around me, even people who believed in what I was doing. I didn't need to win a Grammy before I felt like, now I feel like I'm something, People will say this all the time. My mother passed away in 2004. And even since then, a lot of big things have happened to us. And people will say, it's a shame your mother isn't here. But I got to say, even back in 1984, when we made our first record and just did things, she was already as proud as she could be. She didn't have to wait for a Grammy. She didn't have to wait for us to be in newspapers. She was already she already let me know how great of an achievement it is just to try to do your dream. So I would want everybody to know that that's really what we're talking about here. Just from one person who believes in another, that's enough. And this thing that Scott has made possible and all these people at the university have really made possible, it's just another extension of that. Of someone really saying, I'm not a fool for believing in you. Yeah, and that makes all the difference.
Definitely,
Really
definitely.
does.
Okay,
Really
so
does.
you're going to teach some of the classes up here?
I don't know what I could teach them, really. I mean, everywhere I go, I'm always sort of assailed with people who want to do it by the book.
Right.
And I'm really the only guy who says, I don't even know what the book says. I'm just going to do it this way. So maybe there would be one.
You need to be an adjunct professor.
Maybe so. Maybe there'd be one class where once a year I'd come in and say, forget what your teachers are telling you. Just do whatever the hell you want. And then, I mean, but wouldn't that go against? I know. So I'm not sure. Maybe just the idea that there are no limits.
Right.
That you should do. I mean, the thing that I do is I don't really know what's going on in the world as a way of knowing what I should do to be unique. I really just do what I like.
Good.
And that's the hardest thing, I think, for artists to do, is to really do what they believe in. Because a lot of times they do what they think is going to make them money, or do what everybody's going to like, or do what's going to make them famous, make them look cool. And I'm lucky that I just am surrounded by enough people that say, Wayne, just do what you like.
Yeah.
And we'll make that cool. And
Live your dream.
Yeah, we'll find a way to make that money and make that famous. And so maybe if there's anything I could stand for, maybe it would be that.